What will you do to improve energy efficiency in government buildings and government operations? How will you help the private sector improve energy efficiency? Vince?
This might sound small, but 2 years ago I introduced a bill to require all state agencies and offices to use the new modern light bulbs. It would have saved money for the state government, and over time it would have saved an incredible amount of energy in what state government itself uses. As governor, I'll just do that, because the good thing about being the governor is you can tell at least your cabinet agencies that they need to switch. It might seem like a small thing, but ladies and gentlemen, it over time will add up to a lot, and it sets a precedent for the rest of state government, and frankly for those of us in the public to follow. So small steps such as that are important. The other thing I want to do is to empower the energy office. We have a state energy office that's kind of tucked away under the Budget Control Board. I want to bring that up into the governor's office and really highlight available grants coming from the federal government, and try to get as much as we can, as we did through the help of Clemson, frankly, with the offshore wind potential study grants that we got. So I think it's really making it visible, and then doing some concrete things within state government, like turning the thermostat down, like transitioning to more modern light bulbs, and other small steps like that we can take, and I, as governor, am committed to doing.
Right?
Again, I think that the governor can provide a great deal of leadership by turning the thermostat down, directing state employees to drive as little as possible, to drive at the speed limit. I think another thing that can be done is all of us in this room, probably within the last 24 hours, have violated the speed limits because we've gotten a habit to drive faster than the posted speed laws. And I think
Mike, now Andre left.
What is the line on him that he drives too fast and flies too slow? He's not flying as fast. And I think the government can provide an awful lot of leadership by directive to agencies to conserve energy. Also, the co-ops, South Carolina Electric co-ops have come out with interesting information, and a proposed program as to educating the public and also to weatherize homes. We have this, I think it was Jim made reference, we overconsume electricity. It's not just bad habits of keeping the thermostat up too high, but we have an awful lot of substandard housing. The co-ops have proposed a program there to address that I think has great potential. But the greatest thing that the governor can do, in addition to directing those agencies that he has control and responsible to behave properly in terms of consuming energy, is to provide the leadership to the general public to make the public more aware of what we all can do together to conserve and save.
Well,
Yeah, I think one thing as governor you can do is you can make our government offices, our state buildings greener than they are now. And what that does is two things. One, it allows us in the public sector to be out front on that issue and to demonstrate leadership. For example, in Charleston County right now, they're looking at changing the jails over to solar. That would provide, obviously, a long-term benefit to the taxpayer. It would also send a message to the private sector that we're ready to lead when you talk about alternative forms of energy.
Jim Rex.
Well, we talked about environmental literacy a little while ago. I think we need a governor who also sees his role or her role as a teacher when it comes to this area. We need an interactive governor. I've done 30 town hall meetings since I've been state superintendent of education. As governor, I would continue to do that. We need to engage our citizens in a more thorough, more in-depth discussion of what they can do, what they must do. State buildings, certainly, schools, certainly. When we build new state buildings, new schools, new libraries, we are required that they get that highest certification in terms of energy efficiency. Certainly, we ought to have tax incentives for small businesses and homes to insulate and to come up with more and to purchase alternative forms of energy. Mobile homes in this state is a real problem. They're sieves. They require a lot of energy. One of the reasons we're so inefficient as a state. We ought to have a loan program. Electric co-ops are talking about this. A low interest or no interest loan program to insulate some of these mobile homes especially, and let people pay it back through the savings in their energy bills on a monthly basis. Lots of jobs. Vincent mentioned we could generate 22,000 jobs in South Carolina. It's estimated. Plumbers, insulators, electricians, making our homes and small businesses more efficient. So there are lots of things the governor can do, but I would agree that talking about it and explaining why it's important if South Carolina is going to be competitive in the 21st century for us to be sustainable.